All right, you guys. So we are looking at our second day of statistics. We're going to do a little bit of review and then we're going to talk a little bit more about bias. So hopefully you see some things that you recognize from yesterday. All right, so let's look at our sampling methods. Okay, so let's just relook at the definition. It says when conducting a survey, experiment, or observational study, it is almost impossible to survey everyone in a population. So people use various sampling methods to gather information. Okay, we talked about that yesterday in the video that you watched. Okay, all right, it says note one major concern about sampling is whether it is a biased or unbiased method to gather approach. Okay. There could be arguments for every approach that we take. Someone could introduce an argument that maybe that was a biased approach or this was an unbiased approach. Okay. That's the one thing people do enjoy about statistics, and it's the one thing that frustrates me because you have this wiggle room, and I'm not accustomed to wiggle room. Um, because statistics and mathematics, okay, they are actually two different majors when you go to college, and there's a reason for that. Okay. All right, so let's look at our sampling methods that we looked at yesterday. And I'm also going to give you another example to maybe hopefully refine that definition you have. Okay. All right, so simple and random. Okay, so that's when everyone in the population has an equal chance of being chosen in the experiment. Okay, I think in my mind, I look at that as you're just picking names out of a hat. Okay, and you've made sure to put every name in the hat. All right, your convenience sampling. All right. And that's when the sample is chosen from people who are easy to reach. Okay. So I think I used the neighborhood. Okay. In what we did yesterday. If I just go talk to teens in my neighborhood, well, that's easy. I can get to them. I live there. All right, systematic sampling. Okay, so here's where you put the population in an order, a predetermined order of something, and then you choose by following a set pattern. So it doesn't matter, you've set the order and you're going to pick every 10th person, okay, or every 10th item. All right, clustering sampling. Okay, that's when you choose a subgroup from a population sample, and that subgroup can be determined any way you want, okay? I could go to Uwari Charter tomorrow and say, "Okay, everybody who is wearing a red shirt," okay? And then I would conduct my survey, okay? The only reason they got chosen was because they were wearing a red shirt, okay? All right, stratified sampling, okay, is when the population is first divided into similar categories or stratas, and the number of members in each category is determined. Okay, so you take your whole population, you break it into subgroups, and then you pull people from the subgroups. All right, so let's look at an example here. All right, so we've got a barn. We're going to pick 10 animals from the barn that contains 25 dogs, 15 cats, and 10 rabbits. Okay. All right. And I want to apply each sampling approach to how I'm going to get them. All right. So my random sample, and there's a typo here. Okay. Oops. Let's see if I can fix it. Nope. All right. So that should say, I know I can fix it. Okay. So random. Here we go. I forget that I'm recording live. So random, simple sampling. Okay. Okay. All right. So that's when I go in the barn and I just randomly select 10 animals. Okay. Convenient sampling. Okay. Go into the barn, you grab the first 10 animals you can catch, or let's just say they just walk up to you on their own. Okay. They're convenient. All right, systematic sampling. Okay, we're going to list the names of all the animals alphabetically, and that could be the names in terms of dogs, and then, well, no, cats would be first. So 15 cats, then the dogs, then the rabbits. Or if we actually had personal names for all of them, we alphabetized all their names, and then we chose every fifth animal until we have 10 in total. Okay, so that's systematic sampling. All right, cluster sampling. Okay. I just go in, I grab all the rabbits. Okay. All right, and stratified sampling. Okay, so I have three groups. I have dogs, I have cats, and I have rabbits. I'm going to get 5 dogs, I'm going to get 3 cats, and I'm going to get 2 rabbits. Okay, so I'm actually getting a fifth of each subgroup. Okay, so that's how you can also think about sampling. Okay. All right, so let's now talk about bias. Okay, so sampling bias occurs when one or more subgroups of a population are either overrepresented or underrepresented. Okay, when gathering the data using a sampling method. What we have to do is that if we're conducting a survey or we're conducting an experiment or a study, we have to pick or try in our best effort to use the appropriate sampling method for the question that we've come up with that reduces the bias. Okay, it doesn't eliminate it. Okay, it doesn't get rid of the bias, but we're trying to reduce it as far as possible. So that way we can kind of bring these subgroups up here to equal representation. Okay. All right. So let's just consider, because we could go through examples of this all day long, but just consider some of the things that you could do that actually kind of brings bias in. And it could be how you structure that first question. Okay. In the statistical process. Okay. So let's look at this one here on the left. Okay. It says some questions may use language that people can associate with emotions. Okay. So I could phrase my question, how much of your time do you waste on TikTok? Okay. Well, that could stir up a lot of different emotions in people. Okay. Some people may not feel that they waste time at all when they're on TikTok. Okay. Maybe if you are a famous YouTuber, okay, and that is a way that you make income is by posting on TikTok and likes and all those kind of things, that might stir up an emotion in you that makes you mad or uncomfortable, and then you may not answer the question, or you may actually just say, well, maybe if I do waste time, I only waste an hour, when in fact, maybe you waste 3 hours. Okay. So you kind of have to make sure that you phrase the question, and it may just be as simple as, how much time do you spend on TikTok? Try to keep it emotion free. All right. Next thing. So, right here in the middle, it says some questions may refer to a majority or a supposed authority. Okay. All right. So here's an example. This is in the teacher's world. Okay. It says, would you agree with the NCAE, that's the North Carolina Association of Educators, that teachers should be paid more for earning their master's? Okay. So we're kind of referring to this authority here who really doesn't have an authority. Okay. I'm not paid as a teacher by the NCAE. They may have an opinion, okay, about how I should be paid. Like, should I earn more because I do have a master's? But they're not the authority. Okay. And so you may want to rephrase that question of just, do you agree that teachers should earn more or should be paid more because they have a master's? So there's lots of different ways we could rephrase that question to make it sort of emotion free, but also we're not referring to someone who's in charge that's not in charge. All right. Now, this last one, some questions may be phrased awkwardly. Okay. And a lot of people would misread the question and answer it and actually maybe answer it backwards. Like if it was a yes or no, they really meant no, but they chose yes. All right. So it says, do you disagree with people who oppose the ban on smoking in public places? Okay. Well, you've got the word disagree in there, and then you've got the word oppose in there. And some people at that point, they don't know which one to pick. Like, do I disagree? Do I agree? And so you want to phrase that to where you just say, state your opinion, or you could rephrase it. Let's just say, do you agree on the ban that, okay, I got it. Do you agree with the ban on smoking in public places? Okay. So you're trying to phrase that question as clear and concise as you absolutely want to. Okay. All right. So that's your video for today. Your assignment's going to be similar to what it was yesterday. Basically, can you match up sampling methods? Can you kind of talk about maybe why a problem was biased or a statement's biased or it might introduce a bias? Statistics is a little funky this way. It's not like I can just say, here's the worksheet and do some practice problems, because I'm really trying to avoid doing that. Okay. All right. If you've got any questions, let me know. You know how to reach me, remind, or email.